Spencer Steer and Hunter Greene's names keep coming up in trade rumors, and I see exactly what's going on here.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Jeff Carr, and today's Locked On Reds podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this MLB season. On today's show, a little bit later on, I'm going to give you a question that I don't have an answer to regarding some former Reds players. In just a few minutes, I'm going to tell you who I expect to be traded at this deadline, and that includes somebody who's not on an expiring contract. But we will begin with the fact that we keep hearing Spencer Steer and we keep hearing Hunter Greene and trade rumors all throughout the league. This is something that, quite honestly, I don't like. I think it's dumb to really consider trading these guys right now because I believe that the Reds can get the talent that they are seeking with other players. I think, number one, you're not going to get what you want for either guy, and I'm going to explain why here in just a moment. But I think that mostly, as you're looking to next season, whatever that might look like, in 2028, these guys are still going to be here. They're still going to be huge parts of the team, especially when you consider that a rotation with Chase Burns and Hunter Greene at the top of it is a playoff formidable rotation, something that every other team in the league should be worried about. And so I just don't understand the idea of trading Hunter Greene, and I don't understand the idea of trading Spencer Steer because the way that the Reds value him is not the way that other teams value him. I appreciate you joining me here today. Steve's not with me. He's got a lot going on. Keep him in your thoughts. And as you can hear, I don't sound quite right. Can tell that I'm really going through it with the whole, Cincinnati area becoming the surface of the sun. I think my allergies are going through it, but we're talking Reds baseball here. When it comes to this trade deadline, there's a lot of players I expect to move, and I'll tell you exactly who in just a few minutes. I don't expect Spencer Steer, and I don't expect Hunter Greene to be among them. We keep hearing rumors, and I've seen some, unsubstantiated accounts that are like, oh, hey, this team has contacted the Reds about Hunter Greene, or these teams have. Honestly, if Hunter Greene's available, every single ball club should be on the phone with Nick Krall. Period. I don't care who it is. And Spencer Steer is being linked to multiple different organizations. Like, man, he could really be something. I've even had some lockdown hosts texting me like, do you think he's really available? I think that he is available as much as Nick Krall is trying to get somebody on the phone. Because Nick Krall's got a number of expiring deals that you got to trade. It's not even a question of will they trade. It's a question of why not trade them. And the way that Nick Krall is going about this is, and make no mistake, there's different ways that rumors come to being throughout the season, during trade deadline, during the regular season, things like that. Rumors come from sources within the organization, leaks, as you were. There's a lot of things that I question about how the Cincinnati Reds run things. I don't question how they protect information within the system, within the building. They are very good at keeping things close to the vest. And so if these things are getting out there, it's because they want them to get out there. This is them saying, yeah, come on over. Let's talk about Spencer Steer. And while you're here, can I interest you in a nice, shiny Nathaniel Lowe? Oh, wanted to talk about Hunter Greene. Well, let me tell you about Brady Singer. Things like that. Like, this is a bit of a sales tactic. There are rumors that happen during the offseason. We tell you guys during the offseason, if you hear a rumor in the offseason about somebody possibly signing somewhere or a trade possibly happening, something like that, that is coming from the agent. These are not coming from agents. These are coming from inside the building because they want that to happen. These leaks are for us to get excited about. And if anybody bites from other organizations and they get their dude to call Nick Krall's like, hey, I'm glad that you called. Let's talk about the guys that I want to trade. This is an easy tactic. And quite frankly, it's not something that Nick Krall is unique to. I'm sure just about every major league general manager, president of baseball operations, what have you. President. Oh boy. Sorry guys. This is going to be a long show when it comes to this voice. But let's call him a PBO. I've seen that. It just makes me think of peanut butter and something. Anyway, whatever. PBO, president of baseball operations. Anybody that runs a front office, that's their tactic. Because the Reds have lots of players to trade, none of which should include Hunter Greene or Spencer Steer. Here's the reasons why. They're not going to get what they want. Hunter Greene is coming off of yet another injury that sapped a lot of time from him and kept him off the mound for a while. And while he has looked good ever since coming off of the injured list, nobody is going to give the Reds exactly what they want in this. Because Nick Krall should be asking for the moon and the stars. He's not going to get that. Because other teams are going to be like, this guy's not very durable, though. What's up with that? I don't care. Give me the moon and the stars. And that's exactly what he should be asking for. And if he doesn't get that, thank you very much. Let's talk about Brady Singer. And then Spencer Steer on the other side, too. The Reds value him, and the Reds play him like an everyday ball player. They play him as a utility guy, move him around the field, and they put him toward the middle of the lineup. Just depends on who's pitching. But they play him like an everyday ball player. I've said this many, many times. If there is an opposing team that is calling Nick Krall right now about Spencer Steer, they are offering a trade package that is equal to something you would give up for a platoon player. Not for an everyday ball player. Not for an everyday first baseman, left fielder, whatever that other team might label him as, or everyday utility guy. The Reds aren't getting the everyday player package in the trade. And so Nick Krall should be like, thank you very much for that. Let me talk to you about Nathaniel Lowe. Things like that. Because these two guys mean more to this organization than they will mean to other organizations. I firmly believe that. Especially as you look forward. Spencer Steer continues to be your safety net, super utility man, and the guy that you can feel good about in the lineup on an everyday basis. Albeit I still would think he's better cast as a platoon player, but right now, it's not as if you're going to keep him out of the lineup for any one specific guy on the bench against right-handed pitching. So I understand that. Maybe Nathaniel Lowe, but then you've got to ask, okay, who's DHing? There's a different conversation there that Steve and I have had a little bit, and I think we'll continue to have as we move throughout the year. But I just don't think the Reds get what they want for Spencer Steer. And Hunter Greene, they absolutely aren't going to get what they want because Hunter Greene's talent is that of an ace. His contract is ridiculously amazing for a guy who has the talent level of an ace. The question is his durability. The question is his availability. And I think that is a big enough question that if I were an opposing GM and I was talking to Nick Krall about acquiring Hunter Greene, I think I would lessen the package that I was offering. The players coming back to the Reds would not be as good as they should be. You could say that if the Reds were to trade Hunter Greene right now, they would be quote-unquote selling low. And you absolutely do not have to. There's multiple years of team control, including a team option that I've even heard Charlie Goldsmith say that the Reds are sure to pick up at $21 million for 2029. I would love to believe that. I will have to see it to believe it because the Reds also tacked on a $2 million buyout, which means if they want to, they can get out of that for a lot less. But still, the point is he's under team control for multiple years now. And your rotation can be led by two Cy Young caliber pitchers. There's no point in getting rid of Hunter Greene right now. Absolutely none. And so that would be a horrible idea. These two guys should not be on the move. The reason that there are rumors out there is because the Reds are allowing these rumors to happen so that people call Nick Krall and Nick Krall says, glad we got you. Caleb Ferguson is absolutely available. Or yes, you know what? Let's talk about a Eugenio Suarez. He's not trading Spencer Steer or Hunter Greene. I stand by that. I'm going to say that. I stand by. He's not trading either one of those guys. Coming up in a minute, though, I'm going to tell you who he is trading this trade deadline season. Baseball fans, if you think that you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with everyday's games. Whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on the matchups across the league, every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you can get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. And tonight I'm looking at Eugenio Suarez. Dude's been on a bit of a tear, and George Kirby doesn't actually control right-handers as well as you would think. Even though he's a right-handed pitcher, right-handers are hitting .301 against him and slugging better than .450. And Gino, he's on a bit of a tear. His odds are 5-1 to homer tonight in Seattle, and I feel good about Gino going yard. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all of the action over at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your pick for free on who's going yard. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Today's episode is also brought to you by Odoo, because running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. There's one app for accounting, and there's one for inventory, there's one for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. Because we all know that the best organizations are aligned from top to bottom. But quite frankly, we're talking more about the Brewers. We're talking more about the Cleveland Guardians. We're talking more about the Tampa Bay Rays. Those are the teams that the Reds want to be, and those are what Odoo makes your business run like. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Thank you for making Locked On Reds part of your day. Appreciate our everydayers out there who make us part of your day every single day. And if you haven't already done so, I invite you to take it up a notch. Join our Everydayer Club. Make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast, whether here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. And then go to lockedonreds.supercast.com or just follow the link in the description down below in case any of that I just said came out a little weird because I can't breathe out of my nose. But it's $5 a month, $50 for the whole year, but you can also get an ad-free feed of the show. And we are talking about doing some get-togethers and things like that for our Everydayer Club specifically. Coming up here later on this month, we'll have more information on that. Make sure you check out the link below. All right, so when it comes to the trade deadline, we've talked a lot about the scenarios of different players who could be available, should be available, won't be available, all that other stuff. And I think I've gotten flack for this, and I'm not saying there are players that you shouldn't trade no matter what. Obviously, there are ridiculous offers out there that if somebody were to give to Nick Krall, he should accept for anyone. But there's certain guys that I think it'd be very tough to get the right value back for. There are a number of guys that I think it's easy to get the value back for because you should be looking to trade them. Obviously, the guys on expiring deals, but the player that is part of the expiring deals group that I think that I am expecting to be traded at the deadline is JJ Bleday. I don't believe what JJ Bleday is putting out there. And I would love to sit here and say, yes, I believe it. It's legit. He should be the Reds' everyday left fielder for the next 3 years. But I don't. His back of the baseball card does not scream to me that this is real. What we are seeing from him right now is what we saw from Brandon Drury in 2022, in case you forgot. As bad as the year as 2022 was, the Reds' leader in home runs for that season was traded before the deadline. Brandon Drury was here, and then he wasn't, and nobody overtook him for home run lead in 2022. This was pre-Ellie. This was obviously pre-South Stewart. This was pre-Matt McClain of 2023. All that other stuff. Like, Spencer Steer was here, but just barely. Brandon Drury was the biggest power bat on the team. And there were some people that were like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe we should keep him. Maybe the Reds need to invest in Brandon Drury. They didn't. They traded him. They got back some pieces. I think they got back Victor Acosta. He's not really moved up into the prospect category, but they got something for him that they didn't already have. And that's the whole point with prospects, is that you just get more darts to throw at the board. And some of them stick, some of them don't. That's fine. But you want as many darts as possible. And sometimes you have these guys on your roster that you have to say, is he going to be a value for us the rest of the way? Or is it better that we trade him now and get what we can? And I think JJ Bleday is one of those guys. Let's consider for a fact that right now his 127 OPS plus is far better than his career OPS plus. His career OPS plus is 103, which is fine. But are we really like that excited to invest in a guy that's 3% above league average? And the reason that I brought up Brandon Drury for this reason is that his season here in Cincinnati, his limited time as a Red, it wasn't even 100 games. He played 92 ball games for the Cincinnati Reds in 2022. He accumulated more wins above replacement in those 92 games than he did for the rest of his career, which ended in 2024 with the Angels. But the Reds traded him to the Padres. The rest of that season, he hit 238, 290. He did have a 435 slugging percentage. He was slightly above league average. Then in 2023, slightly above league average. Then 2024, he was well below league average. But he's a guy that coming into his time with the Reds, he was never as good as what he did with the Reds. Something clicked, something happened, something popped, and it was awesome. And the Reds got what they could for him. This is exactly what they should do with JJ Bleday, because I don't buy that this is something, as much as I would love to say Jeffrey Joseph for the next couple of years because he's doing awesome things for the Reds in the outfield, I just don't see it. And I would love to be wrong about that. And it sounds as though JJ Bleday is not very available, but the Reds should seriously consider this, because I just don't know that the back of the baseball card leads me to believe that what we see is real. And we know that his glove is okay. It's fine. It's not a detriment. But the level that his glove is at right now, his fielding ability, is not going to get better. He's going to be mostly bat. He's going to be a guy that you're like, you probably should DH him more than you play him in the field. And the Reds are pretty good at getting those guys. I don't know if you know this or not. They've got a few on the roster right now. But when it comes to JJ Bleday, they should absolutely look to trade him, because his contract will bring back something awesome. Because even Brandon Drury is on a 1-year deal. And so the investment would have had to have been a contract extension. The investment for JJ Bleday is just to keep him here in-house. But I believe that because of his deal, the fact that he has 2 more years of arbitration left, there will be teams that will be interested. Some contenders that are like, you know what? This guy could really help us. We should look into him. And again, people might be calling for Spencer Steer. And Nick Krall's like, what about JJ Bleday? Let's talk about him. Because, yes, I expect Tyler Stephenson's going to get traded. I expect that Brady Singer's going to get traded. I expect that the relief pitchers on expiring deals, and Brock Burke and Caleb Ferguson, are going to get traded. Likely that Pierce Johnson gets traded. Possibly that Sam Maw gets traded. I don't know about Emilio Pagan. I think that the Reds really love Emilio Pagan, so I don't see him getting traded. But I feel really strongly about those guys. And Nate Lowe, I think, is getting traded. There's a good chance that if anyone offers anything at all for Eugenio Suarez, we see him dealt as well. But JJ Bleday should absolutely be in that group, because the Reds have to be honest. And this is the hard part about team building that I don't think that the Reds have gotten right. We've talked this year about Terry Francona's propensity to be too loyal. This is something that the Reds have been for my entire lifetime. There are certain players that they've just been too loyal. And I think that JJ Bleday is somebody that could fall under that category very easily. And I really want the Reds to explore the possibilities of what they could acquire and bring back by trading JJ Bleday. And I know it's funny, it flies in the face of us like begging for outfield upgrades, but I think that JJ Bleday is found money and the Reds need to cash in. Because if he continues like this, and we saw the dichotomy of what his performance could be, the month of June was not good. Now he's looked better here in July, and he was really good in the month of May, but the month of June was bad. And so if the Reds are going to continue with this, there's a chance that the back of the baseball card comes back. And we're talking about a guy who, in his first full season, had an OPS of 586. In his second full season, had an OPS of 666. I know, I hate even saying that. His best year, his OPS was 762 up until now, which is OPS is 837 on base plus slugging. Sorry, I keep saying OPS. But when it comes to all of this, the Reds, they've got to be honest with themselves. And I think that they could get more value in a trade for JJ Bleday than the value that he could bring to the field for the next couple of years. And the reason that I want them to be honest is that I don't know that they can be. And I saw evidence of that this weekend down in Nashville. Before we get into the rest of today's show, it's time for the Everyday Icon presented by Stance. As the official sock partner of Major League Baseball, Stance knows that greatness isn't built in a single moment. It's earned over time through consistency, preparation, and showing up every day. That's why each week we're recognizing one player whose performance embodies the same qualities. And today, the everyday icon that we're talking about is Tyler Stephenson, because dude has been on a tear. I mean, his last 28 days, last month basically, he's hitting 380. But let's look at just his last week. This last week, he's hitting 500. He's got 4 hits, 3 of them for extra bases, 2 of them are homers. Tyler Stephenson is hot, hot, hot. And this everyday icon is presented by Stance. Check out the Icon collection from Stance with premium comfort, performance, and durability designed for whatever your day brings. Use promo code LOCKEDON and check out to get 20% off your purchase. Stance, the official sock partner of Major League Baseball. Learn more at stance.com. I invite you to keep the conversation going with us after the show is over. Like I mentioned, Steve will be back on tomorrow's show, but you can follow him on X at @SOffenbaker with 2 Fs. You can follow me on X and on TikTok at Jeff Carr with 3 Fs. And you can follow the show at Lockdown Reds on all the social media platforms out there. I wanted to end the show today with this because I got the chance, went down and saw some family in Nashville this past weekend, and we went to a Nashville Sounds game. And Nashville actually played the Norfolk Tides, the AAA ball club for the Baltimore Orioles. And in case you don't know, the Nashville Sounds are the AAA ball club for the Milwaukee Brewers. In this game, there were so many former Reds. And there were a couple that didn't get into the game, and they were just sitting on the bench and stuff. But I saw, at one point, Lyon Richardson pitching for the Sounds, the Brewers AAA team. I saw Jacob Hurtubise in center field for the Nashville Sounds. I saw batting fourth and playing third base for the Norfolk Tides, Jose Barrero. I saw center fielder and batting last and not really hitting all that well, but playing the field super well like he always has, Michael Ciani. And then I saw, he was on the bench and didn't really get into the game, but relief pitcher for Nashville as well is Yasser Zulueta. These are all names that we've heard, like, the last couple of years. And I think it's interesting to me because it brought up a question that I don't have an answer to. And I'm curious what you think about this, because I'm going to kind of explore a couple of different avenues off this question. Is that, do the Reds know how to evaluate their own talent? And is that a scouting problem, or is that a development problem? Is that a managerial problem? Is that an organizational malpractice of the entire front office problem? I don't know the answer to that, but it feels like it's a problem. If the Milwaukee Brewers are picking up what you're putting down, that means that they see something. And if there's any team in this league that I'm like, boy, if they see something, there must be something, it's the Brewers. And Lyon Richardson, he pitched 2 innings in relief for the Sounds in this game. He looked good. The velo was good. The breaking ball was playing well. He was really missing bats. He didn't actually – there was a moment, and I was going to be in my feels if this happened, but Jose Barrero was on deck, and the final out was made. Lyon Richardson could have pitched to Jose Barrero, and I'm like, if Lyon Richardson throws a pitch to Jose Barrero that he flies out to Jacob Hurtubise, I don't know if I can even after that. But to see these guys, and the Norfolk Tides just promoted, because I just missed him, Christian Encarnacion Strand to Baltimore. I don't know if you saw that or not. There was in the headlines the other day that the Orioles called up CES. So I could have seen even more Reds. And so, firstly, it kind of feels like the Reds are really good at populating AAA rosters around Major League Baseball, if you want to look at it from the really negative standpoint there. But the other part of this is like, why did these guys end up there? Because Jose Barrero at one point was the number 1 prospect in the Reds organization. And he was ranked in the MLB Top 100 list, depending on which website you looked at, depending on how high he was, but he was in all of them. And even guys like, Michael Ciani has a nice major league career with a couple of different teams. Jacob Hurtubise, I still think will have a chance, although he's not hitting all that well. He's not had a ton of at-bats for Nashville, but he had a single that went down the line on the ground in the game that I watched, but it's not as if he's setting the world on fire. But just how these things move for the Reds, it feels like there are guys that they hold on to that they shouldn't. There's guys that they move on from that they shouldn't. And so to me, is that scouting? Is that development? Or is that just the decision maker as a whole? Because I know we've raised questions about this, and I still believe the next best thing that the Reds can do is extend Sal Stewart. And then after that, maybe clean house in the front office. Like we've said, it doesn't feel like that's likely because the way that this organization runs, they balance the checkbook first, and then they ask questions about the record later. And Nick Krall's done a really good job of balancing the checkbook, so it's not as if he's doing a bad job in the eyes of Bob and Phil. It's just he's doing a bad job in the eyes of the fans. And so, for me, I don't know what the answer is to this, but it was a question that as I watched that game, and boy, the Tides really put it on the Sounds in this. It was Saturday's game. They clobbered them. But as I was watching that game, I was just like, man, do the Reds know how to evaluate their own talent? Because I feel like when the Reds pick up somebody from another team off of waivers or something like that, it's generally a guy who just isn't that good. Like, they've gotten lucky with a few of them. For the most part, they play like a game or two. They do the Chris Paddock thing, right? Where they play a handful of games and then, quite frankly, we're kind of okay with them leaving. But I think that there's something to this that the Reds need to answer. And I think that it's got to be like, if it's systemic, you've got to make changes. Because we are going to enter into a new era of the next CBA where the economics of the game are far different from what we see now. Whatever they end up being, if it's a salary cap, if not, if it's a salary floor, if not, there's definitely going to be some big changes. And the Reds are going to have to get up on that because it feels like they were well behind the times already. And so now if we're going to have new updates to the thing, new ways to win, new obstacles to get past, I question if this current iteration of the front office can do that quickly. And I really hope that that's what Bob and Phil are doing. Because if they're not doing that, then what are they doing? They told us in 2006 they were going to bring winning baseball back to Cincinnati. And for the large part, that's been false. They've got a couple division titles to their name, yay. No postseason advancement whatsoever. And it looks like we're kind of treading water at this point. Like, the Reds are not a 100-loss team. But you also know without a doubt that they're not a 90-win team either. So are we just going to sit in this purgatory of somewhere between 80 and 85 wins, and you just hope that everybody else is bad enough that that gets you into the postseason? If that's what eliminating peaks and valleys is, I don't want it. And I really hope that the Reds are evaluating this the way that they should evaluate this, because the fan base is going, you probably are thinking the same thing. Like, there's going to be a point here where I just tune them out. And I'm not going to be that guy because I think I'm sick in the head or something. I'm addicted to them. I think, acknowledging it's the first step. But when it comes to this ball club, like, they're going to lose a lot of fans if they keep up with this mediocrity is the goal idea. Because, you can be a team that wins 79 to 85 ball games just about every single year. But I don't know that that's going to help you at all, especially when it comes to the box office and especially when it comes to the TV ratings, which it sounds like they're going to do some form of like centralized local thing. And that might actually bail them out a little bit money-wise, but I just really hope that they understand what's coming, because watching how the roster has moved in recent years has me questioning that very seriously. That's where we will end today's podcast. Sorry for the downer ending note, but I was curious about this. I'm curious of your responses too. Make sure you drop down in the comments section. Let me know. But I'm very concerned about the future of this ball club if the front office does not change. I don't know that the current iteration knows how to get the Reds from here to postseason advancement. And we'll talk about that a little bit more with Steve returning tomorrow. We'll also talk about this Mariners series. George Kirby against Andrew Abbott here in the first game. And to see how the Reds take the offensive onslaught that they had in Colorado and what they can do with that in Seattle, where they pitch a whole lot better. And we'll talk a little bit about how important this series is, because it's pretty monumental, on tomorrow's podcast. Thanks so much for catching us today. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure you join the Everydayer Club if you haven't already done so. Link down in the description below. But that'll do it for us here today. Make sure you check out Locked On MLB. They got 3 different shows covering the league with 3 different points of view. And they're just like us, free and available everywhere you get your podcast. But as for Steve, Tim Daniel in the postcast as well, and myself, we will be Locked On Reds every single day.